Joey, it's been a while.
It has, sir.
So there's a change of scenery, and I explained that on one of the Side Talk episodes, why we had to change some scenery up, family first. You can refer to that episode because I don't want to get into it. Uh-oh. You still good?
No, you're good.
Okay. I moved the mic. I was, But, yeah, so we changed some scenery for a little bit, but we're still recording. We're still good.
And you got a whole new...
Look, it's still got some spooky stuff here.
There's always the spooky stuff.
I haven't played that yet. You want to play later?
What is this?
It's a board game. Horrified. And that clown has been in the family. See this clown?
Oh, yeah. I see it.
It's been in the family for quite some time.
I'm going to put that back back.
And that's why we're here, Joey. Because there's some skepticism that you still have. And we have a new member in the group. You haven't met her yet. She's our new psychic medium, our new field investigator. And she actually wants to pick your brain. She's like, I have to meet Joey because why are you in the group? And the message was relayed that you may have a family psychic, power in the Aiello family.
Maybe.
Remember Joanne said that to you? You got the power and you were like, no,
I don't need it.
Yeah, well,
take it back.
That's what I've been saying. I've been saying that. But, long story short, I wanted to pick your brain about the skeptic. I know we believe in the UFOs. Mm-hmm. We believe in pyramids, who might have built them.
Anything that's visible, I feel like, is easier to swallow.
Yeah.
Than things that you can't quantify, You can kind of quantify aliens. There's the Drake equation, you know what I mean? Like, it's like X number of planets or X number of stars and then how many planets surrounding those stars. And he put together the number, and it's kind of like, it's more favorable that there's probably life somewhere in our galaxy than there isn't, I mean, even if it's not like fucking, but it's quantifiable is what I'm saying.
Well, hands down, there's got to be life out there. It's just too vast. It's infinite. So there's got to be just...
Even if they're like us, they can't reach us. We can't reach anybody. You know what I mean?
Musk is going to do it. I can't say his name. People might get mad at us.
He must do it.
He must do it. He's going to doge all the asteroids and get there.
I think as far as we get is probably Mars. I don't know if we get any further. I mean,
there's the theory that we came from Mars.
I'm a firm believer in it.
We got to do an episode on that in depth, not just we've branched into that.
Yeah,
we've never just focused on that.
I like that idea. It just makes sense. It just makes, when you start piecing everything together, it makes a lot of. We'll get into it, but
do you see what Joey's doing? He's branching off the ghost talk and going into the Neil deGrasse.
But it parallels.
So we have our research guy who's MIA. We got to put him on a milk carton. Missing Nick. Where are you?
We might just get some Nick notes and then have him send them in. You know what I mean?
We could phone him in. I think that's the extent of Nick right now. And then we have our psychics, Joanne, and Tori now. We have our field guys who are the techs, Bobby, Jason, and Jeremy. Those are the guys. You haven't met them yet because
I got it.
We don't.
I'm also a firm believer in don't fuck around and
don't find out,
because you'll find out.
Okay, well, listen, but you're a skeptic.
Will I find out?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna go.
I got things set up, dude. Big ones. I might have to personally talk to Ashley and say, listen, this is what we're doing. It's gonna be an overnight thing.
Speaking of Ashley, her friend Ashley, we got to do that one because there might be something in her apartment.
You know what? I've had so much going on that I almost forgot about that. So you know what? Let's call her after this.
Yeah,
and let's give her a chat because I could set something up. That'd be nice.
It's an old place. It's like pre-war. The building is pre-war, so a lot of people have passed.
Let's reach out to Ashley after this, but let's pick your brain because our new member wants to get to know everybody, and I said, well, the 3 members of the podcast that people hear is my voice, which from day one people heard me, and then you came on, and then people started to know that you're into a certain category, but you don't like, the ghost stuff as much. We get that idea of you.
I like it. I entertain it. I feel like I don't know if it's true yet,
And then we have our notes guy who used to be in my original group that...
Does Nick believe in it?
Yeah, he does.
You know, I mean, it's pretty compelling. Anytime somebody brings up ghosts, I always show them that clip of you guys at the cemetery with the names. And I'm like, I'll be honest, that was pretty coincidental. But
let's start with that. That's what you said to me that day. You're like, I don't know if I buy it, but that happening, and then you ran it through ChatGPT.
I did.
And do you remember the number? Because I think I kind of remember the number.
Go ahead.
It was 0.00003% that would happen at that situation.
Yeah, it's a really far out there coincidence.
So let's start with this. Why? Why be part of a group? Besides, we talk about other things. Go to Sleepy Hollow, which was the only trip so far. So we have to actually repop the cherry.
Right.
Cherry tree grew back. Got to pop it again. Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow time.
And then we got to get you out there so that you could see and feel what we feel and see. Because that Brewster house, that would have been perfect for you.
Yeah.
Especially when I started playing like the prayers at the end. You would have been like, dude, I'm out of here. I'm waiting in the car.
I think we talked about a theory once that I kind of liked. And I think this is why I like it. Or I like the idea of like, not the idea of like the paranormal, but you can call it paranormal still. But we tossed around an idea where there are these multiverses, right?
Right.
And then recently they just came out with this Google chip that was it the quantum chip or something like that. That
found another dimension or something like that.
It did a math problem that would have taken us like 200 years to do or something like that. And what they're thinking is that it's possible that it's communicating with other chips in other dimensions for the data that it needs in order to solve the equations.
Interesting.
So, I don't know how true that is either. It's just, internet speculation. But I did read a decent article on it. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. So like if they did discover, a multiverse, who's to say like time is linear, right? It could be that all of this exists, every point in time exists simultaneously at once. And maybe what we're seeing are not ghosts, but glimpses into different times of these parallel universes blending into ours. And it comes off as like this aura of a person that maybe walked past in a room who used to walk in that room, but maybe they are walking in that room exactly at that time in another parallel universe, and you just got a glimpse into it.
So let me piggyback off that. So then let's go into the psychic and the medium.
Then it wouldn't be a ghost. Then it would just be you saw someone who's alive somewhere else.
Right. So let me piggyback off that. So now I'm going to throw a question at you. So psychic mediums, right? We had Joanne come on. Now, Joanne is really good friends with us now. Mm-hmm. Me and her stay in touch every week. And, she obviously has something that's legit. And she made me a believer. Because in the beginning, I didn't believe really in psychics. She made me a believer. And in recent month and a half, 2 months, I've started, I guess, picking up on psychic stuff, which I told both of the psychics in the group. Don't give it to me. I don't want to have it.
Opened yourself up to it.
Yeah, I don't. And weird things have been happening. I got to show you some stuff, like after the episode, like that I can't explain. But anyways, so if you're going with that theory, you think these psychics are picking up on interdimensional stuff? They actually can see another dimension, like they're like Doctor Strange,
possibly. And then here's some other stuff where if human consciousness is expanding and the brain is evolving, like who's to say that all points in time don't exist simultaneously at once? So every time you get deja vu, where you're like, I dreamt this. This is what happened. Honestly, I get deja vu quite a bit, and I'm like, I'm in it, and I'm like, is it just similar to what I've done in the past, or because that's what they explain deja vu to be? It's just a similar instance that you've done in your previous few weeks or months, and then it just comes up again, so it feels very familiar. But I don't think that that's it at all. Like, I think that sometimes maybe when we sleep in our dreams, maybe we get glimpses into the future, but it might not be the future. Like, we say it's the future, but does the future and the past exist, or is it all coexisting at once? And I've heard some physicists talk about this and it's like a complicated explanation where they talk about matter and stuff like that. But if that's the case, then if our brains are evolving, maybe we are getting bits and pieces of information that we're open to from a source of a different dimension that's going on in the future. So our brain is perceiving it, picks it up, remembers it, and we're like, oh. And there comes the predictive ability that a psychic may have, like in terms of like predicting the future. As far as like talking to entities and stuff, what if that's them talking to somebody else entirely? What if there's another type of life form that exists, that is consciousness, that is giving them information? Like, you know how people are like, oh, you know, if you're talking to somebody from the dead, you're not talking to that person, you're talking you're talking to a demon. And it's like, is it a demon? I don't know if I buy that. But what I will say is that, are they talking to someone? No, but maybe they're talking to an organism or something that's like a compendium of human knowledge that's giving them information about things that they possibly couldn't know. It might not be that they're actually talking to that individual. They may think that, because obviously you're going to perceive it as that. Somebody in a ghostly entity comes in this room and starts talking to you. You're like, whoa, you're going to trip out. Like, I'm definitely talking to a ghost, you know, like there's no other explanation for it. But the explanation could be that you're talking to an entity that lives somewhere else, that's giving you information from somebody who existed in the past and who still may exist even after death. Like, consciousness is a weird thing. Where does it come from? Where did it start? And does it linger on? Right? That's the big question.
I thought you were going to, like, where does it come from? Where does it go?
Catman Joe.
I really thought you were going there.
We're fucking old with these dad jokes, bro.
I really thought you were going to go there. I was like, is he going to do it?
I almost did.
All right. See what I'm saying about the psychic stuff? I kind of read it.
You know?
And then you're talking about matter. All right, I'll throw another one. I'll throw a dad joke out there. Ready? So we're talking about, you said matter, right? There's this matter out there. Serious question. I know you're vegan. Let's just say you went back to your carnivore days. Would you rather eat a baby goat or a matter baby?
Or a matter baby?
Yeah.
I don't. Go ahead.
No, but a baby goat or a matter baby? What would you rather eat?
I don't know. I wouldn't eat either.
Do you know what a matter baby is?
No. What's a matter baby?
Nothing. What's the matter with you?
That's what I said. I was like, just go with the joke.
Yeah,
like, you just tell it.
Yeah. Anyways. But,
that was good. It landed.
It landed somehow. That's good. But listen, it sounds like you have a scientific approach to the paranormal.
Yeah, I have a way of wanting to understand it. We're throwing out concepts out there like, okay, we're saying it's this, but what if it's not? You know, what if we're looking at this completely the wrong way?
So what if? So those are two theories. The demon thing, that's a theory I've been kind of piggybacking off of the last 2 years, that we're not talking to ghosts, we're talking to demons. Demons, Sammy.
I'm not saying the demons don't exist either. Like,
I think that's a real thing.
That could be an entity. Like I'm saying, like, there's yin and yang, right? Funny thing about yin and yang. Well, I'll bring it up real quick. They showed on the Joe Rogan podcast. They like superimposed of what something like you gotta throw the clip up on Joe Rogan, but it's a particle that's zoomed in like X amount of times. I think it's a proton or something like that, and
it looks like the yin.
And it looks like the yin, like, and it's like, it's so similar. It not even similar. It's the exact shape of the yin and yang symbol, and it's like, how did they maybe know that that's what matter looks like on the fundamental level? Like when you start zooming in, like where did they come up with this concept with, you know?
Well, for the people that don't know what a yin-yang symbol is, I'll pull it up for YouTube purposes, but the white with the little bit of the black circle, in a half circle essentially, is the little bit of evil or darkness that exists within the good. Yeah. Right? So that there's really good people out there, but in the good people, there is a little bit of evil. And then within the darkness of the full black half circle, there's a little white circle that represents the little bit of good in someone that's evil or malicious or nefarious.
Right.
And essentially, it's kind of like Star Wars, right?
100%. Well, that's where you get the concept
Anakin Skywalker was good, and that little evil
It grew
to full evil. And then if you go to the older movies, Return of the Jedi, that good overcomes and he becomes good again. So that's what the yin yang symbol represents. But I did not know that if you zoom in with a microscope that you could see.
I think it's a proton or something. Like, I don't want to take up time looking it up because we're having a good chat, but like, you can pull up that Joe Rogan podcast is easy to find. Just type in Joe Rogan.
He really has
yin yang. He has some really cool
very
people on the show.
Interesting people on the show.
Yeah,
and I
think we're like baseline. We're almost figuring out what life is on a level of physics. Like, we're getting there. We're starting to get real close, and then we're starting to understand that maybe the people in like the ancient past knew this, which is why I'm like, I like that theory where we weren't as primitive as
people think.
Mm-hmm. I think people have been around for much longer in terms of, what the mainstream narrative is. They're saying like human beings are only like 300,000, or anatomically modern human beings, right? Like 300,000 years old. What if it's 1 million years old? You know what I mean? So like, there's a big gap in history now. And then in 1 million years, it's very possible that we had a technology and then lost it. Like, if something came and wiped us out right now, we'd be pushed back into the Stone Age, and we probably wouldn't figure shit out for like another 400 or 500 years.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, that's the theory that Leslie and Stephen Shaw kind of go with, that there was advanced civilizations. They kind of knew how to avoid the flooding. There was more than one flood, which we kind of think, Graham Hancock thinks that. And they were able to escape the flooding, save the knowledge, and live underground. Subterranean. I think there's
and rather than people go the paranormal route with stuff like that, like with Moses, and like, did God really talk to him about the flood, and like, but who was God to Moses, and who was Moses exactly, right? Like, was he someone from another advanced civilization from somewhere else that knew it because he has scientific instrumentation to, detect that this is coming? Like, today, we would know a flood is coming not because of a mystical god, but because of technology, right? Like, oh, we have a seismometer going off. There was an earthquake off the coast of, the Pacific coast, so California's going to get hit by a tsunami in X amount of time.
Speaking of Moses, there's these theories about the Bible that there was supernatural, not biblical things about each person in the Bible. So I just did a quick search and I asked, when did Moses die? Because there's people in the Bible that apparently, supposedly, lived to like an absurd age.
2,000 years.
So it said the exact date of Moses' death is unknown, but according to the biblical tradition, he died at the age of 120 on Mount Nebo.
120.
Nebo, before the Israelites entered the Promised Land. This event is recorded in Deuteronomy chapter 34, verses 1 to 7.
I'm not even thinking of Moses. I'm thinking of Noah. Noah's Ark. I'm like...
No, but you did mention Moses. Moses went to the mountain.
Yeah, and he parted the Red Sea and all that.
And he got... How many sets of commandments did he get? Let's see.
10? No, 2.
Yeah, he did.
It's 5 and 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he got a set of 10 commandments.
Right.
Came back down, and
he's always portrayed as 2 tablets, right?
Well, it's 2 tablets, but who knows what it really looked like. But he came back down to the Israelites and saw them worshiping a golden calf, and was just infuriated that they were doing that, which is, I believe, the first commandment is, thou shalt not have no other gods before me, or worship false idols. And that's exactly what they were doing. And he got mad and threw the tablets and went back up to the mountain and got a new set, which I don't remember that part of the Bible. Like, did he be like, hey, knock, knock, hey, God, can you come back? I kind of threw what you just...
He went back to the lab. He's like, I gotta write some new stuff.
I just threw the first set you gave me. I kind of got the second set type thing. You know what I mean? But that's what he got mad about. But in the Bible, there's a lot of people that...
Look up Noah. I think Noah... They said
when
Noah...
he died?
No, how old Noah was perceived to be. I think it's like 2,000 years or something like that. Like, Noah was old. People in the past, or in the ancient past, apparently lived that long.
By the grace of God. like other people were dying of leprosy and things like that. So, here we go. So according to the Bible, Noah lived to be, ready for this, 950 years old. That's stated in the book of Genesis, chapter 9, verse 29. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. He was 600 years old when the great flood happened. In Genesis chapter 7, that's where it mentions it, and he lived 350 years after the flood. Also, after the flood, essentially the planet was wiped out.
Right.
And if you really think about it, like, how did we repopulate? So it's kind of like a incest story that took place after that.
Yeah, no one wants to address that.
Yeah, no one, but if you really look at it, that's the only way to...
Unless there were more people that survived, which isn't documented. You know what I mean?
Right. But it did rain for 40 days and 40
I don't think the entire world was destroyed, and I don't think all of humanity was wiped out at once. I just think that more people started to emerge as survivors.
And then the Bible people, because again, I have faith, but there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's kind of it's a little hard to believe, being what we're living through now. There's faith is, but there's a lot of people in the Bible there's proof that it happened, because we have proof there was a flood, and then they try to date the flood and the watermarks. We have watermarks in the pyramid, on the Sphinx and the pyramids. There's watermarks.
They think now the pyramids were completely submerged, up to almost the very top.
Yeah. So back onto the paranormal, because I'm getting very biblical and scientific here, and I'm not smart enough for that. But what would make you an absolute believer in the paranormal? Let's just say we go to Ashley's house and something batshit crazy happens. Would that change your perspective? Or if we go someplace that I have lined up for mid-spring, because I'm not doing it now. It's just too cold, but I can book it. It's not expensive. It's just the only thing about this trip. It is a long trip. It is a 5-hour drive, which means it'll be a 10-hour drive for us in total. But when we get there, it's an Airbnb. We sleep there.
Have a night and then go home.
And go home, yes. So, and it's not that expensive, I think, because it's in the middle of nowhere. But I've looked it up online. The scheduling is kind of weird for me, so I'd have to have someone just be like, I'm making sure I'm picking the right date and doing it. You get a confirmation, and then you head there, and I guess you can call them and be like, hey, we're good. We're traveling from far, but that's going to be something. Talk to you after about that. But what would make... But what would make you a firm believer? Let's just say Ashley's house is lined up. We can rock with that first, because that'd probably be something we can do before the other big thing. What would make you a believer?
You just need something real. I'd got to see it for myself.
See a ghost.
Like Patrick Swayze ghost type, bringing up the penny against the door. Then I'm like, okay, something's here, and I'm going home.
And that's it.
That's about it.
Okay.
Everybody saw that scene. Then he floated the penny. That was a little extra,
right? Well, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Let me ask you this: out of all the stuff,
if objects are floating in the room, there's two things I'm gonna think. Either there's some kind of weird scientific possibility here of why things are floating in this room.
Jedi,
maybe.
The dark side is considered unnatural. But out of all the stuff that we've done so far, so granted, Sleepy Hollow, when we went, nothing crazy happened except the snake bite.
Oh yeah, fucking bastard.
I wish I videoed that. I don't know why I didn't. But anyways, nothing happened then. But out of all the stuff that you witnessed that we've did, and last year we were doing a lot of stuff, right? You watched the Brewster videos. You've witnessed Joanne give a psychic reading to me, and then I explained the significance of that psychic reading, and she even picked up on something that wasn't for me.
I think she's tapping into something. I don't know what exactly. You know what I mean? Like I talked about, about the theory in the beginning of the podcast. It's just, is it on some sixth sense? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. Is it where she's tapping into
full-on apparitions that are really coming appearing?
Right. So out of everything that we've done in the past 2 years, going on investigations, having psychics in our group now, Joanne is one of us. We talk to her on a regular, and all the places we've gone to. Is there anything besides from the cemetery thing that sticks out that makes you say, hey, you know what? maybe we are going to places and we were finding stuff, or is it just the cemetery?
The cemetery is like a loaded place of energy. So maybe. I mean, there's a lot of people like,
and this stuff,
and maybe not energy though, because I think about it sometimes. I'm like, that's their resting place. It's not really where their consciousness left.
right?
You know.
Well, it didn't leave there technically. It would have left.
Do people follow their, their
conscious
physical bodies? In death.
Possible. Also, the
Trying
name
to stay tethered to it.
The name thing wasn't the only thing that was weird that day when Nick and I went there. First of all, during Letchworth Village, and I told Joanne and Tori this a couple of weeks ago when we did an episode that nothing happened in Letchworth, the actual place, not a single thing. Nick and I went through the abandoned buildings, and the only thing we were worried about is either getting arrested for trespassing,
or getting into bum fights,
or getting into a bum fight. Right, exactly. And unfortunately, we went so early, there was not a soul there.
That would have got some views, though, if that happened.
Yeah, Nick, like, laying out a bum. First form! First form certified. Get your protein. You can
All of a sudden, a protein tub comes out of fucking nowhere.
You can beat up bums, too, with this first form body. We're going to get sued now. No, I'm just a joke. But, no, nothing happened there. But when we drove to the cemetery, we didn't get the names right away. We started getting because we were using this device, which again, people think the phone thing is fake, but it was throwing some really good answers out there. So even if it's programmed to say certain things, it said witch, it said tattoos. Me and Nick both had tattoos. We both have tattoos showing. And then we were asking for the names because there's a lot of unmarked, graves there. There's 800 something people supposedly buried in that cemetery, which is crazy because it's a small cemetery.
But there's more than 800 names in the world. You know what I mean?
It's true, but the three names that came up.
That's what makes it.
Stella.
That's what makes it.
Addison.
Weird.
And what was the last one? Owen.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to look at the memorial. Like, we passed it, we looked at the toys there, he explained why the toys are there, and he was the one, like, I was trying to get back home because he did have something to do fairly early in the day. We went there at a crazy hour, and he says, Billy, we got to check the memorial to see if these names match up. And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea, let's do that. And lo and behold, we find, not the last name obviously, but we find an Owen, a Stella, and an Addison. First one was Addison. Then we found Owen, and I lost my shit. And then I found Stella, and I was like, "That's 3 out of the 3 names that came across.
Yeah.
Literally, only 3 names came across.
3 of 3.
So
3, 4, 3.
I think for us, since we started going on investigations again, I think that was not only solidified that maybe these apps on the phone aren't fake, because I looked through the reviews before I bought it, and now we have a spirit box, a literal one, but I think that solidifies something was going on there that day.
It's technology, and if like we talked about, if there's like some kind of like quantum entanglement between universes, energy can somehow get into the devices that have energy, you know what I mean?
Use it to speak. Mm-hmm. I think so.
But I don't like that. Like I said, I don't know if that's a ghost, though. I don't necessarily think that's a ghost. I think
it's something that
was there. Like
it may not be a ghost.
I'll give you a scenario.
Mm.
You're walking through that cemetery, and you're also simultaneously walking through that cemetery. If time is like not linear, and it exists all simultaneously at once, just in various different multiverses. You're walking through that cemetery at the exact same moment then as everybody who was ever buried there. So if somebody said their name while they were, what was this person's name? If they're doing a service, right? The device picks up the name because it's picking up a time in which I don't know. It's a far out there.
I know.
It's a lot easier to think that like the ghost just came and just threw their names in the mix.
No, but I get what you're saying because we've talked about it, and even Dario mentioned it. Remember, he blew our minds that episode, and that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And Dario was like, what if I'm here, but there's 10 more of me, and one of them has to do the deed? But he went biblical, but it was still kind of in conjunction of what you're saying. So I honestly think, well, this year we're trying to get to places, and that's my goal now, is to get some concrete evidence. And it's hard because even if we do get concrete evidence, people online are going to, they did it with the when I posted the reels. They're like, that's fake. The app is fake. This is fake. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get concrete video evidence. I want something on video where people are going to analyze that and be like, all right, we ran this through an AI program. It's not AI. We ran this through, and it's not. They genuinely got something where it could be featured on Paranormal Caught on Camera or show or even the news or something like that. That's what my goal this year is, to get something like that. And the places I have lined up, I think quite possibly we might be able to get.
And there'll still always be skepticism.
There will be, but you know what? Even if it doesn't land on a platform that, hey, this group got this, or if it doesn't land on a news outlet and it doesn't, marinate with the social media and following we have,
you'll know.
I'll know. I'll be like, I know that I caught that. I didn't fuck with the video. I know what I saw. I know what I caught on camera.
Right.
I know what we recorded that day when we were at that cemetery with Nick. So I'm good with that. And that will kind of answer questions for me.
So that's a situation where you're getting this like self-fulfillment prophecy. But like I said, what if it's still more than, all right, I'm looking for this result, and then you got the result. But is it necessarily the answer that you wanted, you got out of that? I'm trying to like think about like a good analogy for it. Maybe like math. Like you're looking at a problem, you get a specific result. You're like, I knew I would get this result from that equation, and you got it. But like, maybe there was another variable that you didn't intend on when you were looking at the problem, when you solved it, right? You missed some kind of like minus or this or that, like something that would have led to a different outcome. And what I'm saying is like, for you, it'll be like, this is paranormal. This has got to be something from the beyond. We have that proof, right? But it may not be something from the beyond. It may be something from the very tangible, something that like binds or brings together space and time entirely.
Well, that's the thing of having you in the group, because maybe, just maybe, we find something and then we do an in-depth research of the history. Maybe we can prove one of two things, if not two things at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? But no, this was a good talk, dude, and I'm looking forward to this year because with the weather's. I don't want to knock on wood because
don't jinx it. It's been okay.
Yeah, it's been. Listen, we
dropped like 40 degrees the other day.
But it's okay because I looked at the 10-day forecast and it's looking so good.
That's good.
And I'm hoping, because once the weather starts to warm up a little bit,
sun's out, guns out, baby.
Sun's out, guns out, baby. I'm dropping weight quicker than freaking a fat man on Ozempic. I'm ready to go this summer. I feel good. I got some stuff going on like in the family, and I'm battling it all. I'm staying positive, but at the end of the day, I got so much lined up, and this podcast, my friends and my family have been keeping my head afloat. And I got 2 outlets to go to keep my mind off the negative.
That's what life is.
And
the yin and the yang, baby.
Yin and yang, buddy.
Bring it back.
Baby goat or matter baby. It's all about that. And I'm ready for this year for this podcast to take it to the next level and go to these crazy places. We have a full crew now. We started with myself. We got you. We got Nick. Then we gained Dario. We got Joanne. We got Jeremy, Jason, Bobby. Then we got another psychic, Tori. We have a full freaking assembled Avengers team now, ready to tackle.
Cue the Avengers music. Don't.
No, but I have to make it on the piano.
Yeah. Some generic ass.
Yeah, and then you don't get sued. It's a cover song. But good talk, man. And listen, if you see me wearing this awesome shirt, Squatch Watch. If you don't know about Squatch Watch, Instagram, 1 million followers, focuses on the cryptids, especially the iconic Bigfoot Sasquatch. And they have merch, and I love to get their gear and wear it. I have 2 hoodies now. I have 2 shirts, and I love their content. I love their page because who doesn't love?
This is like a dope gym shirt. This reminds me of like the old school.
What?
Like,
I bought large, not thinking I was going to drop like 10
like
pounds.
undercover, like, yo, I got something constructing.
Yeah, I'm on the subway, and the color of the day is green, and you know what I mean. But their merch is awesome, and
it's a fun page to watch.
It is a sick page, and the creator of that page is always showing the Say What Again Billy podcast love. So I wanted to show them love on this podcast episode and tell you to head over to their Instagram page, click their link, and get their merch, especially if you are a cryptid lover, because that's what they focus on, and they're always showing us love. So I'm always going to return good karma, full circle, yin and yang.
Oh. There.
Look at that. Freaking, I should be on
mushrooms.
Radio, mushrooms, the whole nine. And of course, all made possible by Spotify for Creators. If you don't know about Spotify for Creators, it is the free app that allows you to get your podcast idea
out there.
So if you have a phone, tablet, or computer, head over to Spotify for Creators to get your podcast started. Joey, hell of an episode. Good talk. You came in here with some deep shit today. Yeah. Like, seriously, I wasn't ready for that. I mean, I'm very alert right now, but that was like, can't compute.
You know,
malfunction, danger, O. Robinson. And of course, another episode with Joey and myself, Billy. Head over to swab_podcast to check out our Instagram page, watch the reels, and see how crazy we are. And this has been another episode of the Say What Again Billy podcast.